FitBit, FIT. So let's take a look at this one. This is a pretty interesting one. I mean, we've seen some valuations pretty high, 40 or so, but if we come into more recent history, we've been hovering around around $6 somewhere. And let's get in and take a look at what it's been doing during the during the crisis here. So I took a look at their balance sheets, and we'll do a pretty good dive on this one. It's an interesting chart. This is Brian Lewis with MMT Investing, and things just changed. So 20 here. Okay, so we get our dead cat and our S&P crash, and then we get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, and a kind of reversal off the up. We get a reversal off the ABC wave down here, and a reversal off the 5 on the S&P. And Fitbit has been roughly up over the entire course of the crash, which is very, very rare. And I took a look at their balance sheet, and it's not that pretty. Like their cash to the total current debt is about half. Their accounts is pretty decent. So if you look at the total current liabilities, it doesn't look quite as bad, but they're upside down on their balance sheet, and it's not very good. And their stock has completely resisted the crash. I mean, they went down from 650 to 6, So I mean, that is really good. This almost looks like an oil company stock, or the oil tankers, I'm sorry. And I don't know why this stock is so stable and going up over the crash. That's really strange. It looks like a pretty good chart, and we'll look at the cycle here and try to figure out what this thing might be doing and when a good time to look at getting into this thing might be. So we are about halfway, a little over halfway in a 3 to 4 month credit contraction cycle here. And we've got this Elliott wave kind of structure here that looks like it's shaping up for the cycle, and it looks like we got a 1, 2, 3 corrective down, and then we get a 5 wave up, and we should get another 1, 2, 3 corrective wave down in the S&P for this cycle, and then we'll switch into a positive monetary expansion phase in about a month and a half. It looks like that should be in June sometime, somewhere around here. Trying to work on the timing of the cycle, but Fitbit it has been coming down when the market comes down, although not very much. And then it's getting some pretty good moves up when the market's going up. And you can see with all these stocks that they are definitely being affected by this credit contraction cycle. Like whether they're up or down, they're still doing the same 3 wave down. They're still doing the same 5 wave up. So all the stocks have this same wave pattern as the whole S&P has, and it just depends how low they're pulling down and how high they're bouncing. So this one is pulling down a little bit, and it's bouncing pretty high. So this is a pretty cool looking stock. I have some ideas. I mean, right now it looks like we're starting a down leg, so I'm steering clear of going long in general right now of these stocks, but there should be a good entry point on this next crossover here, which I don't know. You have to watch my main channel to try to track these timelines of when we're trying to switch short and long. And this is not investment advice. And please hit the YouTube button. Please hit the like button to help me out with the YouTube algorithm. And this looks good. So we should get a little dead cat pop here. We should get another B wave kind of bull trap thing, and we should get another dead cat pop in here. So there's some up moves on this cycle where Fitbit will look really good, and it looks like it's okay as a long through the whole crash. Although, I mean, I don't personally want to be holding anything during the down moves. There's just why. And then when it switches out here into a positive market, this stock is going to start getting pretty interesting because that is a very tech-friendly switch into a monetary expansion phase here. Whenever this timeline is probably a little off, that should be out here in June when we switch. But that's kind of a look at how Fitbit's holding up over the crash relative to most things. I mean, we're getting a lot of different stock patterns, like huge crashes and huge bounces, or we get big crashes with tiny bounces on a lot that we just looked at in the top 10 series. This is the first one in the top 10 that has resisted the crash and also bounced high. So this is a very interesting stock. Yeah, this is interesting. But right now, this week, I'm not long anything really. So I mean, the only thing I'm long is dollars right now. Just for the next like week and a half or 2 weeks until we get down to this kind of dead cat area and can reposition and kind of figure out where to go. But just from a swing trading kind of perspective, I'm not long anything. All right, so that's Fitbit. It looks like a good company with a mediocre, not so good balance sheet really. And that is a concern too when you get into this credit contraction kind of down move. That's when companies with bad balance sheets get into a lot of trouble. So holding this thing through a down is risky also here. And I don't know that Fitbit, if they got in trouble, would be a big candidate for a bailout loan. I don't think so. But if they are not in trouble when you get to one of these reversal points, then then they look like a good long. I don't know if they're good enough long to kind of do like a call option on, because I mean they're only going from 6 to what, like 7. I mean, a lot of these oil tanker stocks that jumped up doubled. They went from 5 to 10, not from 6 to 7. So this is not that interesting as a long. It's pretty stable so far through the crash. It's a little bit risky on the balance sheet side, but it looks like they're making enough money that the balance sheet's not going to be a huge concern for these guys. So I think this is a pretty good stock. It's a pretty stable stock, uh, really stable. And look at this consolidation zone, is just absolutely out of control. Wow. Yeah, so I do like this stock, and it's not making crazy moves. It's not as volatile and jumpy as a lot of the other ones. But still, I don't like getting in now. I think we're going to come down, and there'll be some other spots to try to go long on this thing. Well, it's up. Let's see. Let me draw that. Let me draw that with this up arrow, because it's on this kind of trend, and it probably will stay on an uptrend throughout the whole cycle. But it's going to do these moves along that trend, so it probably go down and then kind of dead cat and down, then bull trap across and then down, something like this. This is more the stock chart that I would expect from Fitbit through the crash. And then when you get out to this reversal spot here, that's when I think the market conditions are really going to be good for this company, and you might see a better long position there. All right, I think that's a decent look at Fitbit. The balance sheet, I didn't go into all their products and anything like that, but they are making money right now. They don't look like they're in a bunch of trouble. Their their cash balance did go down this year relative to last year, and their debt did go up this year to last year. So that's not really that great on the balance sheet side. But I think the valuation is, well, yeah, it's been around 5 or 6. I mean, this is kind of an average valuation for them. They're not really historically cheap at these prices or anything like that. I'll have to think about it a little bit more. I don't know if this one's going to be super exciting here. It doesn't seem to be a super volatile kind of stock, and it's been on a long-term downtrend. I'll have to think about it. This one's interesting though. This is a very different chart that is actually up over the crash, and that's very rare. So this is definitely one to look at, but I don't think I'll be doing call options or something like that against the cycle, trying to go up on it because it's not moving enough for that. I like the oil tankers and gold on these call options. These little short-term moves up, and mostly short. short on these down waves. So that's the outlook for Fitbit, and happy trading.